Hello, I've completed, based on EV owners' comments to my channel, 10 reasons to buy an EV. Now these are actual owners and their experiences with an EV, and there are some surprises, so I do hope you can keep watching. Hello, I'm Nigel and you're watching the Nigel and Jen channel. I hope you can subscribe and like. So these 10 reasons are from real people who own EVs. They're not paid journalists or the oil misinformation industry. So let's go with number 10. This first one is from RV in Canada, Ontario, and he says, I purchased a 2023 Model 3, a long range, and let me tell you, can't be happier. No more dealing with dealers, waiting for service, or going to periodic stupid oil changes. These are all his words. Differential, oil, gear, oil and whatnot. My first service is due in 2026. Beat that, he says. Car is superbly built, insanely fast, and it's futuristic. He says he has a hybrid also, an F-150, and it has its own use. Gas is stupidly expensive, not to mention servicing. The truck he charges Model 3 at home. He's got 6 months free supercharging package. The battery warranty, 8 years or 193,000 kilometers, 4 years, 80,000 bumper to bumper. He says, I will stick to the Tesla, so thanks very much. So number 9 is from No One Man 4140. He said, it's not all about the cost. For me, it's the driving pleasure. EVs are wonderfully quick from the off. They're quiet, serene, no oil changes, no cam belts, no spark plugs. The list goes on and on. No waiting for the engine to warm up the car in winter, unless you're in the vast majority of drivers who are up and down the motorway every day. The range and charge anxiety is not an issue. Like everything else in life, do your homework, question the scam stories, and be cynical as to where they come from. Listen to those who don't have any financial gain to make and who do inform the good and the bad. No car is perfect, or would all have one. So thanks very much for that. Number 8 on the list is from PH61A. He said, with supercharging prices at 22 euros to 30 in the Netherlands, these alone for me are 10 reasons to buy a Tesla EV. As a bonus, I get 20,000 kilometers supercharging for free. Thanks very much. So that's from the Netherlands. Number 7, Tim Longstone says he owns an MG4. You see, we've tried to do quite a variety, not just Teslas, other EVs as well, where people have left comments about them. So Tim owns an MG4. He says, I love it, saving a fortune on fuel bills. He says he charges at home overnight, and normal plug-in rate is around 20 miles charging per hour. 300 miles costs him around £6 for home charging. So thanks very much. That's a MG4 owner. Number 6 is from a rugby girl's dad. He just had his first road trip to France. On the way back, charged 100% near a hotel in the Somme. Drive to the Eurotunnel, top up to 100% whilst waiting on board, then drive from Folkestone all the way home, 3.5 hours. Topped up overnight. Total fuel costs for the entire break about a third the cost of a nice vehicle. Wind farms everywhere in the Somme. Overnight off-peak charging at home, better economical than using my panels. Had to deal with some myths when talking to petrol heads on holiday. The best one was from the grid can't cope, the answer to which is only if everyone plugs in at the same time. Great answer. He also says the oil industry can't cope if everyone decided to fill their car up at the same time. So number 5 on the list. Hi Nigel, greetings from Oxford. He's 58 years old. He switched to an EV in 2019 with a BMW i3. Between ordering and delivery, I was quite anxious about my decision. 5 years later and still have the i3. It's been a fantastic experience. I've owned many cars in my time. EV experience has been sublime. It's nearly 50,000 miles he's driven, and only cost a set of tyres, and at 37,000 miles, new wiper blades, screen wash, yes. Spent some money on car shampoo and detailing products. But let's not get pedantic. So that is Simon Reeves from Oxford. So number 4 in the 10 reasons to buy an EV. Chris says electricity can be generated anywhere in the world. It doesn't have to be transported to where I charge my car. Fossil fuels only in certain countries. These countries do all sorts of tricks to keep the price up. Example is OPEC. Once the oil is out of the ground, it has to be transported to refineries, to all over the world, ocean-going tankers that are constant threat to the environment, and some have done great damage to our environment. Once the oil is refined, it has to be transported by tanker trucks throughout the country and fuel station. I can charge my car with electricity from my house, much cheaper than fossil fuels. I've been driving for 52 years and my Model 3 is the best car I've ever owned. So thanks very much for that. Number 3 in reasons to buy an EV is from Jimages. I really do like this one. I wasn't expecting this, but this is a great example. Now, he used to be a long distance lorry driver, and he says he used to do the maximum possible legal hours when he was a driver. He was worried about the range of EVs, even though he says he just does about 4 trips a year of over 400 miles. But he decided to examine how his trips went for 2 hours in his car with his wife. She convinced him into stopping after about 2 hours, and he said, I hadn't even done 150 miles each time we stopped. It was a good 30 to 40 minutes, more like an hour most times. So I came to the realization that even though I could drive further in the early EVs, I wouldn't do it. As for owning one, I have it all. Off-road parking, most EVs will more than meet my range needs, and even have solar panels, so free electricity while I'm not using the car in the daytime. Jim says I still don't own one, but that's only because I buy cars second-hand and keep them until they are not viable to keep on the road. My current car still has a few years left in it, but as soon as it reaches the end of its life, my next move will be to buy an EV. I might, for the first time, he says, in my life, actually part exchange or sell my current car early, just because I could save money owning a used EV. Well, that's a brilliant one. So at number 2 of the reasons to buy an EV, and I must be honest, these could be in another order, and this one could be number 1 or it could be number 10, and that goes for many of them. Anyway, True Brit left a comment, and I welcome all comments. He said, a few weeks ago, I'd be quite happy to offer any one of these presenters on emissions challenge. We'll both sit in our cars at home in our garages for 24 hours with our engines running. Then afterwards, we'll discuss our experiences over a coffee. Coffee. That was a Freudian slip. So he says we can then see if the ICE or EV has the most dangerous emissions. That's a great point, and I love it very much. And yeah, that's a very good point. So here we are, number 1 in my list, reasons to buy an electric vehicle. This one could be a bit controversial, but never mind, here goes. Victor Russell says perhaps the biggest reason to buy an EV is to cut pollution. Exhaust fumes are a major contribution to heart disease, lung disease and dementia. Short and sweet, but thanks Victor, I certainly agree with that. Now it's interesting that EV owners like me have all experienced driving petrol and diesel cars, and many for decades, and I can compare the two objectively, unlike those people who only know ICE cars. There were also comments from people who don't own EVs, so they were negative and they were only repeating media misinformation. Someone said, I can give you 20 reasons not to buy an EV, and that's the tip of the iceberg, but they didn't offer any. There's a very high profile Porsche owner who tells you not to buy an EV and gets hundreds of thousands of views repeating his mantra video after video. But he doesn't say don't buy a Porsche Taycan, if that's the right pronunciation, and it's over 100 grand's worth, which would be a lot more accurate, because who the hell is going to buy a £100,000 EV? You don't have to. It's remarkable how positive views are from comments I get on my channel from EV owners, and this is only just a few sample. I probably could have done 30, 40 or 50 reasons to buy an EV. But the overall underlying example is, from all these 10 reasons and more, is that people are never going back to an ICE vehicle, and that's exactly how I feel, having driven for over 50 years. It's funny also how people talk about you as being an EV driver, as if you've never driven an ICE. And you know, it's the same with cyclists. Oh, you're a cyclist. Well, yeah, cyclist, and also I drive a car as well. It's for some people, things have to be very, very simple. Anyway, thanks for getting this far. Hope you can subscribe and like. Drive safely, and I hopefully see you next time. Bye for now, and don't forget to take your reusable mug wherever you go, and stop using those horrible single-use coffee cups that end up in the landfill. Bye.